was a Tuesday. Dull, routine, a day for stale coffee and endless data. I never thought the world would end on a Tuesday. My plan was simple: slog through my government research job, then hit O'Malley's for a whiskey and some grumbling about red tape. Now, I stand atop a shattered ruin, blood dripping from talons that were once hands. The city, smoldering grave below. My name's Adrian Carter, and I was human, until I became something more, something they never meant to unleash. It hit at 3 p.m. I was at my desk, poring over cellular regeneration stats, when the sirens screamed, a piercing howl that shredded the office drone. The intercom crackled, code crimson, lockdown procedures initiated. All personnel remain in designated secure areas. This is not a drill. Code crimson, biological containment failure, the kind we'd laughed off in briefings. My gut twisted. The room exploded, chairs crashing, voices shrieking. I grabbed my backpack, shoving my laptop inside, and froze as a memory struck. Sarah at breakfast, her blonde hair glowing in the sun. Tommy giggling as he smeared jam on his cheeks. "Don't work too late," she'd said, kissing me. "Tommy's got soccer tomorrow." I'd promised I'd be there. Now, the sirens drowned that vow, and dread clawed me. Not just for the lab, but for them. I bolted, sneakers squeaking on tile. Lights flickered, a coppery stench choking the air. I rounded a corner and stopped cold. Dr. Patel was sprawled, throat a gaping red maw, blood pooling. Above him loomed an infected, twitching, fast, eyes glowing crimson, talons black and slick. It grinned, predatory, chilling. "Carter, run!" a guard yelled, firing. The shot punched its chest, dark blood spraying, but it lunged, claws slashing his gut. Intestines spilled like wet ropes, and Patel's gurgles faded as I stumbled back, bile burning my throat. I ran, alarms turning to static, lights dying, snarls closing in. I swiped my ID at Lab Sector 5, the door hissing open. I threw myself in, slamming it as talons raked the glass, leaving bloody streaks. Dr. Emily Novak and Jacobs, a security grunt, stared. Emily trembling, her lab coat splattered red, Jacobs pale, pistol unsteady. "We're trapped," Emily whispered, voice cracking. "They locked it all down." "There's a way," I said, panic surging. "There has to be." "You didn't hear the last call," Jacobs growled. "It's not just here. It's the city. Everywhere." The words hit like a brick. I sank down, yanking my laptop open. Servers flickered, but I pulled Crimson Genesis, bioenhancement for super soldiers, reflexes, healing. The serum had mutated, twisting subjects into feral nightmares. A growl rumbled outside. Lights went black. "Behind me!" Jacobs hissed, aiming. The glass shattered. 3 infected bursting in, claws flashing, eyes blazing. Jacobs fired, bullets tearing flesh, brains splattering, but 2 tackled him. Talons ripped his chest, ribs snapping, blood gushing as he screamed, cut short by a wet crunch. "Adrian!" Emily dragged me to a vent. "Move!" I kicked the grate free, shoved her in, and crawled after, claws scraping metal behind us. We spilled into a maintenance shaft, dust thick, the asylum's rotten pulse faint in the walls. I slumped against the vent wall, chest heaving, the laptop's glow casting shadows on my hands. Emily's breaths rasped beside me, her bloodied coat a grim flag. My mind raced. Patel's shredded throat, the guard's guts, those crimson eyes locked on me with that sick grin. They weren't mindless. They were fast, relentless, shrugging off bullets like nothing. I fumbled the laptop open, fingers shaking as I scanned Crimson Genesis again. The screen flickered, but the words burned. Enhanced reflexes, accelerated healing, heightened aggression. My breath caught. Patel's killer had moved like a blur, too fast for the guard. The lab attackers took hits, blood spraying, yet kept coming, talons slashing. This wasn't random chaos. This was the serum, our serum, twisted into something grotesque. My work on regeneration, those sleepless nights, fed into this. We'd aimed to craft soldiers, perfect, unstoppable humans, not these things. A cold sweat prickled my neck. They weren't mistakes. They were the goal, warped beyond reason. Humanity's potential turned inside out. What the hell are they? Emily whispered, her voice trembling, eyes wide with terror. I stared at my hands, the laptop's light glinting off them, and felt a hollow ache spread through me. They're us, I said, my voice flat, empty, like it belonged to someone else. What we were supposed to be. Emily's eyes darted to me, confusion mixing with fear. What do you mean, us? I didn't answer. Couldn't. The asylum's pulse grew louder, a wet thudding in my ears. My hands twitched, a sharp pain lancing up my spine. Something shifted inside me, and I didn't know if I could fight it. We emerged in Black Hollow Asylum, walls pulsing like flesh, oozing bile, air thick with rot. Silence pressed, then screams pierced it. Dr. Whitmore staggered forward, throat torn, eyes wild. Adrian, his grin stretched, veins snapping, and a black mass erupted, guts spilling like wriggling snakes, splashing the floor. I screamed, stumbling as my hands twitched. Nails darkened into talons, pain searing my spine. A voice roared, "Feed!" No. I clawed my skull, but my talons sank into Whitmore's corpse, flesh parting like wet cloth. He dissolved, power surging. Sick, wrong, alive. Adrian, what's happening? Emily backed away, trembling. I don't know, I shouted, voice breaking. I can't stop it. The asylum quaked, walls splitting, spilling viscera. Abominations emerged, faceless, bones piercing skin, jaws unhinging with jagged teeth. One lunged, saliva dripping. I slashed. Talons tore its throat. Black blood spraying, body crumbling. Another charged. I grabbed its head, crushing it, skull popping, gore coating my arms. A silhouette loomed, limbs shifting, eyes leaking ichor. You let me out, it gurgled. What are you? I yelled. What you become? It laughed, wet and deep. Walls wailed, doors burst, monsters swarmed. I fought, ruthless. One bit my arm, I ripped its jaw off, bone splintering, blood arcing. Another leapt. I drove my talons through its chest, heart bursting, warm and slick. Soldiers stormed in, hazmat suits, flamethrowers roaring. I moved like a phantom. One swung a rifle. I snapped his arm, bone-piercing skin, then tore his throat, blood fountaining. Another fired. Bullets ripped my side, but I healed, lunging to smash his helmet. Skull caving, brains painting the wall. I climbed a ruin, the zone a graveyard, flames licking the dark. The infected followed, a horde at my feet. A radio crackled, phase 1 complete. Containment zones activated globally. Crimson Genesis deployment successful, 85% infection rate. Proceed to phase 2, activation of the catalysts. Another voice. Zone 17, catalyst uncontained. Subject Carter's mutation deviates. Monitor closely. Not their chosen one. An accident. My laptop confirmed. Controlled infection for population reduction. Catalysts to initiate secondary evolution. The old bloodlines will rise anew. Old bloodlines. A ritualistic whisper. A hint of ancient power tied to blood, not just control. They'd meant to anoint specific catalysts. Not me. A rogue. An anomaly they couldn't leash. Serve, the voice hissed. No, I snarled, tearing my chest. ichor spilling, then recoiling. I wasn't theirs. I'd be their end. The highest ruin became my throne. My coat a tattered cape, skin pale as marble, eyes ember bright, fangs gleaming. The infected knelt, chanting. A flashback hit. Sarah and Tommy at the park, her smile warm, his laughter bright as he kicked a ball. "You're my hero, Dad," he'd said. Now they were gone, lost to the crimson tide, and I was no hero, but a king of shadows. "You wanted a reset," I said, voice ablade. "I'll give you ruin." I'd hunt their zones, New York, Tokyo, ripping through their labs, their soldiers. A soldier charged below. I leapt, talons slashing his spine free, vertebrae scattering, blood soaking me. Another fired. I tore his arm off, flesh shredding, then sank fangs into his neck, hot blood flooding my mouth. The council, marked by a triangle, with 3 eyes on a corpse's gear, would bleed. I'd find them, those shadows of the old bloodlines, and end their ritual. Their world would fall, and I'd forge a kingdom of the damned, a new dawn of gore and shadow. "Let them come," I roared, voice thunder. The infected surged, tearing a soldier's gut open, entrails spilling. A rival pulse hit, another catalyst, its gaze turning my way. I smiled, fangs glinting. I'd crush it, or claim it. The council's game was done. Mine had begun.